A recent research finding has suggested that the Arctic sea ice may be thinning faster than predicted. That means Arctic Ocean could be ice very much sooner than predicted. What would be the harmful consequences of ice-free summers in the Arctic Ocean? Examine. Background. Arctic sea ice is declining rapidly, with the seasonal load in summer shrinking particularly quickly. Scientists have different ways to predict Arctic sea ice decline. If melting continues as it has in recent years, it could be as soon as 2020, but climate models suggest it won't happen until 2040 or later. Approach. Introduced with the reasons and the present situation in Arctic Sea. Please mention about the studies, then mention the harmful consequences of it. Introduction. The stunning decline in the sea ice covering the northern polar regions, the more than 50% drop in extent in summer, and an even steeper reduction in ice volume. Just a few decades ago, ice 10 to 12 feet thick covered the North Pole, with subsurface ice ridges in some parts of the Arctic extending down to 150 feet. In 2017, that ice is long gone, while the total volume of Arctic sea ice in late summer has declined, according to two estimates, by 75% in half a century. TLP Phase I, GS1 Compilation 2018 Type Text Page 38 Consequences of Arctic Sea Ice Melt. Few scientists understand that the Arctic sea ice death spiral represents more than just a major ecological upheaval in the world's far north. The decline of Arctic sea ice also has profound global climatic effects, or feedbacks, that are already intensifying global warming and have the potential to destabilize the climate system. Sea ice, in summer, reflects roughly 50% of incoming radiation back into space. Its replacement with open water, which reflects roughly 10% of incoming solar radiation, is causing a high albedo-driven warming across the Arctic. As ocean and air temperatures in the Arctic rise, this adds more water vapor to the atmosphere, since warmer air holds more moisture. Water vapor is itself a greenhouse gas, trapping outgoing long-wave radiation and holding heat closer to the surface of the Earth. Melting Greenland ice sheet raises sea levels. In fact, the loss of reflective sea ice is part of the reason Arctic temperature has risen 3 times faster than the global average in recent decades. Fine permafrost amplifies warming. Scientists are concerned carbon dioxide and methane released from the carbon-rich permafrost could cause additional warming by adding to greenhouse gases already in the atmosphere. Ocean circulations could change. Another impact of Arctic and Greenland ice melt could be that the freshwater runoff into the ocean disrupts part of a major circulation system known as the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation (AMOC). The AMOC carries warm surface water northward, giving Europe its mild climate. Melting sea ice can influence winter weather, as temperatures rise faster in the Arctic than at lower latitudes. This changes large-scale temperature and pressure gradients. Sea level rise is projected to have serious implications for coastal communities and industries, islands, river deltas, harbors, and the large fraction of humanity living in coastal areas worldwide. Sea level rise will increase the salinity of bays and estuaries. It will increase coastal erosion, especially where coastal lands are salt rather than rocky. In Southeast Asia, many very large cities including Bangkok, Bombay, Calcutta, Dhaka, and Manila are located on coastal lowlands or on river deltas. Conclusion. TLP Phase I, GS1 Compilation 2018 Type Text Page 39. The top of the world is turning from white to blue in summer as the ice that has long covered the North Polar Seas melts away. This monumental change is triggering the cascade of effects that will amplify global warming and could destabilize the global climate system. Best answered? No best answer. Q.19 American Revolution wouldn't have happened if there had not been an Age of Enlightenment. Analyze. Approach. The question is asking you to connect the ideas developed during Age of Enlightenment and the American Revolution. The difference between a revolution and just another war is, the revolution results in socio-political changes, and also, the revolution is based on strong ideals. The ideals of American Revolution were developed during the Age of Enlightenment of Europe. American thinkers who directly influenced the revolution were influenced by the European thinkers. Americans such as Thomas Paine, Thomas Jefferson, and Benjamin Franklin were just as much a part of the Enlightenment as Locke, Adams, Rousseau, and Voltaire. Locke and Rousseau developed the social contract theory, in which they determined that government derived its power from the consent of the governed. Jefferson would use these words and others from life, liberty and property to espouse the American promise of life, liberty and the pursuit of happiness. Thomas Paine's Common Sense 1776 gave individuality to colonies and propounded that they had the right to rebel against the British Crown. Diderot created the first encyclopedia, allowing many of the ideas of philosophers of the time to spread among the masses. European Enlightenment coined the idea of humanism, which put man as the center of the universe rather than God. This led to formulation of Protestant philosophy and capitalism. America adopted the idea of capitalism, moving away from mercantile system of Britain. Adam Smith of Scotland spoke in favor of a free market economy, giving rise to laissez-faire and capitalism. TLP Phase I, GS1 Compilation 2018 Type Text Page 40 Voltaire spoke for the freedom of the press and the tolerance of religions. Drawing on France, the United States was sure to include tolerance of all religions in its founding documents, while also making sure to avoid the pitfalls of church involvement in governing. Note, you can add more points to this list depending on the word limit. Your examples should prove that American Revolution was a revolution for natural rights, social contracts, representative democracy, etc. Conclude the answer by saying that even though American Revolution had its seeds in European Enlightenment, there were several unique ideas and circumstances which led to the actual chain of events. You can give 2-3 points to enunciate. Note, some common mistakes that many of you have committed in this answer. Writing in detail about the Age of Enlightenment was not required. Many aspirants have focused on the thinkers of American Revolution and have not linked them with the European Enlightenment. Linking the two aged thinkers is very important. People are also copy-pasting the exact points. We know the sources where you are copy-pasting from. If you are reading something from somewhere, at least try to write an answer in your own words. Connecting the dots. Can you say American Revolution was more of an economic revolution? No best answer, since most of the answer has drifted